This is Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Cayman Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine. With over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates. And Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the Record.
For the Record.
For the Record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you.
For the Record.
Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the Record.
For the Record. For the Record.
Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome to For the Record. Today is Wednesday, the 17th day of April 2019. I trust that everyone had an enjoyable evening and that you're all raring to go today. Those of you who are on the roads, we again urge you to be extremely cautious, obey the rules of the road. If you're a pedestrian, if you're a cyclist, a motorcyclist, or if you're operating any other type of motorized vehicle on the roads, please be careful. Observe the rules of the road, be courteous, and remember the life you save may be your own. I will talk a bit more about traffic later on in the show as well, because I have some written comments from people in relation to their experiences on the roads, and we all have had varying experiences on the road when it comes to traffic. So we need to talk about it. We need to talk about people's attitudes on the road as well. Folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and by extension For the Record into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands into your places of work, whether it be an office cubicle or if you're working in the outdoors. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I am your host, Orrett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. Our phone lines are always open. There's always someone there waiting to take your calls. 9 times out of 10, that's beautiful radio voice of Miss Susan Watson. You can call us on our toll-free number provided courtesy of Flow. That toll-free number is 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and the 949-6990. Email us at For the Record. That is one word, For the Record, at candw.ky. WhatsApp us on 925-3261, where we encourage you to send us a text message or leave us a voice note, the contents of which will be played during the course of the show. And, of course, you can follow us on YouTube simply by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. No guest in the studio this Wednesday, so we're going to have open mic segment all day. This is an opportunity for you to call in, express your views, talk about various topics. Remember, it is Easter, and we're expecting it to be a very busy time in the Cayman Islands. For those of you who are campers out there, we know that you are looking forward to enjoying yourself as well, and we will have some tips for you also. Yesterday, I had the opportunity when cycling to stop to cross various campsites over on Ivory, I think it's called Ivory Point, at the end of Kaibo, and also the Kaibo Public Beach area as well. We see some people already have their spaces cordoned off with the yellow tape around it to secure their areas. Some have put up their tents there, and I guess putting their markers down for their spots there. And I thought I may have seen some people out there already. I know some of my former colleagues at the immigration department, they're usually out there, went to their spot, but I didn't see them there yet. But I'm sure that they will be there as well, because I did see one of them at one of our local stores contemplating buying a nice tent, and I knew exactly what she wanted that for as well. So I know that they're going to have a good time. And then our friends over on East End side in the gun base section over there as well, I know that they will be there also. So we want you to enjoy yourselves. We also want to alert you to the fact, if you do have young children with you, please keep an eye on them. We don't want to hear of any accidents or unfortunate circumstances on the beach. Please keep an eye on all of the youngsters as well. Boaters out there, be careful, observe the rules when it comes to boating, the speed limit. Remember, people will be out there swimming as well. Those of you who are planning on fishing, remember that it is closed season for certain things. So ensure that if it's closed season for lobsters, that you don't get lobsters. If it's closed season for conchs, that you don't go after the conchs as well. If you're planning on fishing, I would urge you to get out there early. Now, I'm not a weather forecaster or anything, but yesterday, riding through the islands on the south side of the island, calm. On the north side of the island, calm as well. But you know what happens, right? Usually when it comes to Easter and Easter picnicking, as soon as you hit the beach, then it starts to blow. It gets choppy and everything. And then on Easter Monday in the evening, then it calms down again, and of course you have to go back to work on Tuesday. So those of you who have the opportunity to get out there early, especially if you need to do some fishing, like Caymanians say, not fishing, fishing. If you're going fishing, then you want to make sure that you do it early. So the men or the women who are not working now, go out there in your boats, catch your fish early. We hope the weather doesn't change, but my experience has always been as soon as you hit the beach, it starts to get choppy and everything, making it very difficult for you. Those of you who are up in age, like this talk show host, be extremely careful. Make sure that you're in good physical shape. You may even want to go and check with your doctor, because when you get into the water, if you're snorkeling or spearfishing or what, you want to make sure that you're in good shape, good physical shape as well. Don't think, well, today it's the Easter time, now I can get out there and swim. Ensure that you're feeling well. So again, we're urging you, especially our youngsters, our young ones, please, please, please keep your eyes on them. Ensure that they are safe at all times. And of course, we need not remind you that when you want to keep the areas that you're camping in clean, and when you're leaving, you want to leave the area even more immaculate than when you found it as well. I am sure that Department of Environmental Health will be assisting. I've seen dumpsters in some areas already that are all positioned there for people to dump their garbage, their refuse, and I am sure that there will be regular pickups during the Easter break as well. I am also planning on sharing with you some of the newspaper clippings in relation to Easter in past years as well. I'm not sure if I'll find anything about this, but those of you in the Georgetown area, Scranton, Shedden Road area, will remember the picnics that Miss Dolly and Miss Francis used to have. A truck. It was either Mr. Clarence Flowers' truck, I believe he had one. Could have been Cully Smith's truck. That was rented for the day, and you had the benches, the wooden benches running across the truck, and that's where you sat, and they drove you up to spots where the public beach is now located. We would go there, and those days the water was very shallow. Lots of conchs used to be there, especially to the western end of that area, going towards where the tourist landing is. Lots of conchs used to be there, and then of course when you would go to the east or to the southeast, you had the caves there, and we would explore the caves and everything. And I must say that during my younger years in doing that, we never had, to my knowledge, any fatality on the beach. No one drowning or anything, because everyone was so careful. And of course, in those days, most people knew how to swim. I'm not sure that we can say the same thing these days, but we all knew how to swim. We all could take care of ourselves, and that was one of the things that our parents didn't have to worry about when we were when we went swimming, whether it be out in Hogstye Bay or what we used to call Bar Bay. Some people call it the area down Red Spot now, where the fishermen are, and the other little cove that was directly in front of Wholesome Bakery. Our parents didn't have to worry because we all knew how to swim at that point in time. I think there's an overturned vehicle somewhere. We'll give you some details on that later on. Yeah, there's an overturned vehicle in the vicinity of the Island Heritage roundabout. Okay. That is affecting one of the lanes heading into West Bay. We are reliably informed that the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service, they are on this scene, and I'm sure that they will be directing traffic to ensure that it is flowing as smoothly as possible. So if you're in that area, you can expect some delays, but again, if you pay attention to the directions of the police, if you don't try to squeeze in on other people and just follow the flow of traffic, everything should go well. So that's the in the vicinity of Island Heritage roundabout, heading towards West Bay, an overturned vehicle. Now, here we go again, in terms of overturned vehicles. What is happening with people's driving in the Cayman Islands? Why are we such aggressive drivers in the Cayman Islands? And I'm not going to pin the aggressive driving to any one particular nationality, because if you look back in the old newspapers in the Cayman Islands, we used to have a lot of accidents, and in those days there were mainly Caymanians on the road, and we had a lot of accidents as well. So I'm not going to pin this on any particular culture not being Caymanian. There are many aggressive drivers out there. What is stirring up this aggressive driving on the roads? I don't know, but I hope that something is done about it. When I return, because we're going to take a commercial break and I don't have enough time to read this, but someone sent me an email on Monday, which I was unable to read during the course of the show on Monday, but it has to do with their experience in traffic. I think I have a couple of those that I will share with you as well. So please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the historical vignette series, sponsored by Cayman National Bank. Visit Cayman National Bank today for all of your financial needs. The Cayman Islands, he hath founded it upon the seas. Ethel Rose Kensington Cook Bodden, Certificate of Honor, 1990 to 1993. Ethel Kensington was born in Devon, England. She moved to Grand Cayman in 1945 with her second husband, Eric Cook Bodden, and her two sons, Ralph Kensington Loft and Eden Cook Bodden. After the passing of her husband in 1955, she owned and single-handedly operated the Yankee Notion Shop, the English Shop, and Caymanian duty-free shop at Owen Roberts Airport, as well as many other investments. She is recognized as Cayman's first businesswoman and strongly supported the development of tourism and aviation here. Soon after settling in Cayman, she became involved with the development of the Georgetown Hospital. She often provided food, supplies, and linens for the sick and organized Easter and Christmas gifts for the patients. She founded the Grand Cayman British Red Cross and was its main supporter for many years. She was a volunteer at the Georgetown Library. She organized and sponsored the first Miss Cayman Islands beauty pageant and was very active in the struggle for women suffrage.
Radio Cayman's historical facts vignettes are proudly brought to you by Cayman National, with branches on all 3 Cayman Islands. Visit Cayman National Bank today for all of your financial needs.
Circle of Love Women's Ministry and DCFS would like to thank our gold sponsors for their support of the annual Child Month Breakfast on May 11, 2019. Cayman National Bank, Persona Events, Wendy's, Book Nook, Marriott Beach Resort, Atlantic Kids, Foster's Food Fair, and Cayman Islands Monetary Authority. Thank you, gold sponsors, for empowering, impacting, and encouraging the future of the Cayman Islands. For more information on the Child Month Breakfast or to be a sponsor, contact Shanda Hunter at 922-3229.
Since March 2004, West Bay Pharmacy has kept their doors open to the local communities, even before, during, and after Hurricane Ivan. At West Bay Pharmacy, our staff provides so much more than pharmaceutical excellence. From the moment you walk through our doors to completing your cash out, our staff will have put your healthcare concerns at ease. We would like to take this moment to thank our loyal friends and customers. To us at West Bay Pharmacy, our patients are our primary concern. We provide thorough background checks and precise calculations to ensure your medical safety. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. No guests in the studio, so we have open mic. But before we open up the phone lines, I want to share with you some correspondence that I have received in relation to the traffic situation in the Cayman Islands as well. This writer has written and said, I was listening to your show this morning, this would have been on Monday morning, about the terrible accident on North Church Street. My heart goes out to the families of both parties. I am not a person who likes to go on the radio, but I really wanted to call this morning. I walk home from work most days. I work at Owen Roberts Drive, and I live in Smithborough Villas. And many a day I have feared for my life crossing the intersection by the cricket oval. I always wait for the walk signal to cross. Well, one day last week, sorry, an ambulance, no sirens on, almost knocked me down. He had clearly run the red light, and then to top it off, a taxi was tailing him and nearly hit me as I was crossing. My thing is, I believe drivers are not tested on the rules of the road, and orange light means slow down, not speed up and get around the corner. There are too many people that think that they are the only ones on the road. They don't use indicators or mirrors and feel they are entitled to make an extra lane if the traffic is not moving fast enough for them. That is true too, because we see that even on the bypass coming from Chrissy Tomlinson roundabout there, and these are my words now, where the bike lane, they have had to put those dividers, 3 dividers, in to stop cars from driving in the extreme left lane, which is the bike lane, to get to the roundabout there. Again, the aggressiveness of drivers. So the writer continues, honestly, OC, I could write a book on what I see daily that happens just in the 2-mile stretch that I walk. There is plenty more that I don't see as well. Please remember, the government needs to put some kind of rules and regulations about bringing in cars to the island. A public transportation system and a more strict driving test. I've been here for 29 years, and it is getting crazier and crazier each day. I live in fear of my own Caymanian child as he grows up. So there we have that person expressing their views in relation to the situation. Another writer says, I was interested to hear you speak about drivers tailgating earlier. I'm going to ask you to kindly convey the following information to the public. A, tailgating is an extremely dangerous practice, and I believe it is also a road traffic offense. It is so dangerous because if the car you are tailgating needs to make an emergency stop, for example, a child runs out into the road, the driver may not feel able to brake as hard, knowing there will certainly be a rear-end collision. Also, the tailgater may push the car in front into the child. The tailgater may end up in court on a charge of causing death by dangerous driving. It is that serious. I also, I now always put on my hazard lights if being intentionally tailgated, which serves to let the offender know he's dangerously close, and this has done the trick on many occasions. I can also hopefully attract the attention of a passing police car in the offense, to the offense being committed, and lead to the offending driver being pulled over and given a ticket. I'm going to pause for a second and just simply to say, I know some people who, when cars are tailgating them, they simply slow down and drive slower. Now, sometimes that is done to frustrate the driver who's tailgating them, but it is also done to make the driver aware, the driver who's tailgating aware of it. I have known people who have simply slowed down, stopped, and put the car in park. Again, those are extreme cases, and the driver has actually taken the law into their own hands, but it goes to show you the level of frustration that is out there. A good way this is the writer again, a good way to determine if you are driving too close is the 3,000 rule. As the car in front of you passes a spot on the side of the road, maybe a tree, something, start counting 1,000, 2,000. If you pass the spot before you have reached 3,000, you are too close to the vehicle in front and needs to pull back a bit. It's really a useful aid for safe driving. Then the writer goes on to say, B, some drivers believe that the decision for the car in front to enter a road junction is actually for them to take. They express this decision by blasting their car horn, which I believe in itself is a road traffic offense, as the car horn is only ever to be used to warn other road users of your presence. It is a safety device, not a means to tell the driver in front to get a move on. And I will add to that, the horns are also not a means for you to greet other drivers on the road when you see them, especially when they're traveling in opposite direction. Please allow me to briefly relate an incident that I have experienced yesterday. This is the writer again, Sunday. I just born. I had stopped at the small roundabout just past the Rubis gas station to turn right towards the airport. A tourist car coming from the airport had also stopped before me to my right. He did not realize he had the right of way to enter the roundabout and make his turn. As I waited and beckoned him to proceed, a public bus driver to my rear decided that I needed to go ahead by blasting me with her bus's horn. She then proceeded to yell at me through her open window. All this at 8 o'clock on a Sunday morning in the presence of newly arrived visitors to our beloved Cayman Islands. Unbelievable. It was an utter disgrace. Unfortunately, I could not get the bus driver's number, but still rang the traffic police, who advised me to contact the bus depot, which I was unable to do as they were closed for the weekend. I'll be calling the depot this morning to register my complaint, as I believe this type of behavior is totally unacceptable and does a lot of harm to our tourist industry. Also, an impatient driver is always a dangerous driver. So those are two that we shared, and one more here. This one says, a very good morning. Yes, people on these roads need to have more courtesy and repeat and also use their indicators. Use it at every turn you're making, whether it's a roundabout, square triangle, or I would imagine square or triangle. I've never heard of a square triangle before. Sorry about that. Square triangle or whatever where you're going. Have a good day. Happy and blessed Easter as well. And I will continue to maintain that we need to have a more rigorous driver's examination test. It needs to be more rigorous. We need to do more than just simply have someone go out there and have a driver, if you're not attending a driving school, to have a family member or friend teach you how to drive, because they're going to teach you their bad habits as well. So we have to have a more rigorous driving test in order to ensure that we have better drivers on the road. We've reached that time, top of the hour, 8 o'clock news. When we return, we will continue to talk about things. Maybe you'll hear something about 50 years ago, visitors welcomed.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. And studio time by Price Right is 7:59.
Price Right is Grand Caymans Warehouse Shopping Superstore, making your dollar go further with huge savings and no membership fees. Get more of the things you use every day at the right price. But it's not just grocery and health and beauty. Price Right has a full range of products from office to automotive, patio furnishings to kitchen appliances, and even electronics. And since warehouse prices mean savings for you, everything is priced right at Price Right, Grand Caymans Warehouse Shopping Superstore.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
Access. Information. Your community. News and information. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. Inspectors head back to Tiffany's preschool. During a recent follow-through inspection, the inspectorate evaluated the progress that had been made at Tiffany's preschool in addressing the 5 recommendations from the previous inspection report of October 2018.
Inspectorate judged that there'd been weak progress overall.
Director of the OES, Peter Carpenter, tells Radio Cayman recommendations included that Tiffany's preschool ensure a rigorous system and procedures necessary to evaluate practice and bring about rapid improvement, develop teachers' capacity to have productive interactions with children, improve information technology resources, ensure all activities planned for children are sufficiently challenging, and review the timetable and procedures for transition to ensure more time is devoted to learning activities. The report says as overall progress has been judged to be weak, there will be a further follow-through inspection within the 6-month period of the report. The center will continue to receive follow-through inspections until it either reaches a satisfactory rating or is inspected as part of its full cycle of inspections. And the annual Orchid Show and Sale last weekend was met with the largest crowd of the event's history. With more than 1,300 people attending the 2-day event, organizers say they are elated. Unofficially, over 25,000 CI dollars was raised for the Queen Elizabeth Botanic Park and the Cayman Islands Orchid Society. With thousands of orchids imported from the U.S., Jamaica, and as far away as Hawaii, there was much enthusiasm about the large number of unique species available for purchase. Crowds were also wowed by the sheer number of the homegrown flowers on the show's Park Visitor Center. In regional news, Jamaican Police Commissioner Major General Anthony Anderson is now crafting a, quote, transparent process to address the vexed issue of promotions in the Jamaica Constabulary Force. The announcement was made by the Minister of National Security, Dr. Horace Chang, as he kicked off the 2019-2020 sectoral debate in the House of Representatives. Chang disclosed that promotions will be a combination of an exam, performance evaluation, length of service, and the integrity of the officer up for promotion. The National Security Minister announced, too, that a new built-for-purpose police headquarters will be constructed in the area of Trenchtown, St. Andrew, also known as No Man's Land. Chang sought to assure residents in the area that they would not be dislocated. He says through the National Housing Trust, provisions will be made for all socioeconomic groups to be accommodated. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC who will take us out of the newscast. I'm Carsley Fuller from Radio Cayman's Newsroom.
BBC News with David Austin. Relatives of Sudan's ousted President Omar al-Bashir have told the BBC he's been moved to a maximum security prison in Khartoum. They say he was taken to Kobar prison, where many of his political opponents were held during his 30 years in power. Hundreds of doctors have joined protesters to demand further reforms. The central bank chiefs of Britain and France have warned that climate change poses an existential threat to the global financial system. They say targets for reducing greenhouse gas emissions require a massive reallocation of capital. Public transport in London has been disrupted by climate change activists. The Indonesian leader Joko Widodo has welcomed unofficial results, putting him well ahead of his rival Prabowo Subianto in the country's presidential election. But Mr. Prabowo says his own tallies suggest he's in the lead. France has announced an international competition to design a spire to replace the one destroyed by fire at Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris. The Prime Minister, Edouard Philippe, said it could be a replica of the 19th century original or something more modern. The World Health Organization says 6 people were killed in overnight shelling of the Libyan capital Tripoli. The UN-backed government there has blamed the attack on forces loyal to General Khalifa Haftar. Schools across Denver in the United States will be shut today as police search for an armed woman said to be obsessed with the Columbine massacre, which took place 20 years ago. Police say a search is underway for an 18-year-old woman that they describe as extremely dangerous. A woman in Bangladesh has apologized after facing a torrent of abuse on social media for saying she didn't believe in an afterlife. Safa Kabir made the initial remark during a radio interview. A video clip was later widely shared online. BBC News.
Access information. What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
This Easter Saturday, hop down to Bayshore Mall for Kirk Freeport's Easter at Bayshore Family Event. Join us on Saturday, April 20th from 4 to 6 p.m. for refreshments, cotton candy, popcorn, balloons, face painting, steel drums, and more. There will even be supersized Easter bunnies and a kids scavenger hunt with chocolate prizes. Kirk Freeport's Easter at Bayshore Family Event, April 20th from 4 to 6 p.m. at Bayshore Mall in Georgetown. Free parking behind the mall. Visit kirkfreeport.com for more information.
The Country Top 40 just keeps rolling on.
Hi, this is Bob Kingsley, and this weekend on the Countdown, the 40 hottest hits on the radio right here.
CT40. This here's Saturday afternoon.
From 12:15 until 3:30.
CT40 milestone.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Save time, don't stand in line. You can apply for or renew your trade and business license online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Just visit dci.gov.ky and click on the Trade and Business Online application link. Now, you don't need to stand in line, take time out of your busy schedule or try to find parking. You can apply for your trade and business license online. Visit dci.gov.ky today and save time for running your business.
Pleasant good morning. Time now for the latest weather report. Current temperature is 80 degrees. Relative humidity is 88%. Barometric pressure 29.96 inches and rising. The wind is east at 4 knots. Overnight low temperature was 76. Synopsis indicate moderate winds and seas expected over the Cayman area for the next 24 hours in association with a weak ridge across the northwest Caribbean. Radar images show isolated showers over the Cayman area moving towards the southwest. Now the forecast for today calling for partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of morning showers. Temperatures will be in the mid-80s. Your winds will be east to northeast at 10 to 15 knots with higher gusts. Seas will be slight to moderate with wave heights of 2 to 4 feet. Forecast for tonight calling for pretty much the same. Partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of showers and temperatures falling to the low 70s. Winds will be southeasterly at 5 or 10 knots with higher gusts tonight, and seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. High tide, we're presently at a high tide, and the next low tide will be this afternoon at 2:26, and a high tide again this evening at 8:43. The sun will set this evening at 6:42 and will rise tomorrow morning at 6 minutes past 6. And the outlook is calling for similar weather condition through Friday morning. That's the very latest on your weather report. And that familiar theme tells us once again it's time to take a look what's happening on our roads. Traffic is heavy coming from the east on Shamrock Road and Linford Pearson Highway. A lot of patience needed this morning and slight delays expected. Little steady traffic coming off of Bobby Thompson Way, and traffic is steady bit flowing on some sections of Cool Road, other sections steady. Coming from the West Bay 4-way start, light to moderate traffic flow, and traffic flowing moderately on Godfrey Nixon Way and Eastern Avenue, as well as on Edward Street in front of the Georgetown Post Office. Little steady traffic on the West Bay Road in front of the Ritz, heading to Georgetown, and coming from Georgetown, heading to West Bay, traffic flowing moderately, especially in front of the Ritz. in and out of Georgetown and Sheridan Road. Moderate flow of traffic. And the traffic is steady on North Sound Road. Remember, if you see any accidents or incidents on Cayman's roads, give us a call here at Radio Cayman, 949-629-90. And early this morning, there was an overturned vehicle in the vicinity of the Island Heritage Roundabout. And it's affecting one of the lanes heading into West Bay. That's what's happening on your roads. Join us again. At about 10 minutes after 12, we'll update you traffic-wise. Remember, 10-2 on the steering wheel, and have a good morning. Buckle up.
This Easter weekend, the Cayman Islands will welcome the rest of the Caribbean, and you do not want to miss it. Carifta 2019 takes place at the Truman Bodden Sports Complex from April 20th to 22nd. Watch the region's most talented track and field athletes compete and come cheer on your Cayman athletes. Get ready to raise your flags at the Caribbean's biggest athletic event this Easter weekend. It's Carifta 2019. Tickets start as low as $10.
Get your tickets now at CaymanCarifta2019.ky or Funky Tanks and Reflections. Brought to you by the Cayman Islands Government, CUC, Salt Technology Group, the Cayman Islands Athletic Association, Cayman Islands Olympic Committee, DART, Miracle Brokers, Maples Group, Pinnacle Media, World Gym, and Radio Cayman.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We have a backup of traffic in the Randike area as well. I would have thought that we would have less traffic on the roads, but there's an accident there as well. But schools opposite Randike Gardens, there is an accident there, so again you will experience some delays in that area, traveling towards town, coming towards the west. As well. School is still in. I think on Monday I may have said school is out. Well, maybe some schools are out during this period, but yes, we still have a lot of traffic on the roads. I believe we have a caller. No calls. Okay. One of our listeners has written and said, "Good morning. For years it has been acknowledged." Sorry. Nope, wrong one. I can't agree that the driving is not mainly with Jamaicans. Jamaicans' culture in Cayman is being changed by Jamaicans, and people are adopting their political culture, their accents, their driving habits, and everything. If you don't feel able, and they're saying this to me now as the host, if you don't feel able to say the truth, then don't discuss it and say things that damage your credibility. I have always admired your candor in the past. Well, I can certainly discuss it, but I do not like to target or to focus on any one nationality. Sometimes if you are able to read between the lines, then you will know what I'm talking about. But it is not my intention on this show to stir up any nationalistic or feelings in relation to any one nationality. And if we have over 130, 140 nationalities on this island working and living here, then there are more than Jamaican drivers on the road. And we can pin this on many people. I pin a lot of it on our Caymanian drivers as well, because they are aggressive drivers as well, especially the younger drivers. They are aggressive. So what you have to say, what you've written to me in relation to us adopting their culture and their habits, that may be true. Remember, at one point in time, we were governed as a part of Jamaica. Jamaica, one of our nearest neighbors other than, say, Cuba. So we have always been influenced by Jamaican culture to an extent. Maybe days gone by we were not as gullible as we are today in relation to adopting other people's cultures. But that is the case. But I did not mention any particular nationality because I don't want to go down that route. I don't want to stir that up. But sometimes try reading between the lines. And the writer also goes on to say, last week I spent 4 hours sitting on a rented chair at the side of the road in Legany in Jamaica. It was an experience in how not to drive. So I want to thank that writer for that. Another one has written and said, my sympathy goes out to the driver who had the bus driver road rage by honking horn and abusive gestures on the road and in front of visitors. Those bus drivers do this all the time. They are not Caymanians and bring their dirty habits with them. The police on the roads are one of them and will not do anything. Government needs to stop the minibuses and introduce decent transportation to the islands. Yes, some of those mini bus drivers are aggressive drivers. There are others who are extremely courteous on the road as well. And just like everything else, we need to just simply weed the bad apples out as well. Those are my views. We have a few callers. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning, caller.
Well, see, I can just cut to the chase.
Sure.
I don't have no time for about bringing national people inside, whatever they want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
I have no problem with that. But the truth is, the Jamaicans that drive on this island have no respect, because if you go to Jamaica, and I say that I don't care who it is, who like it, who don't like it, I can just talk the truth.
Mm-hmm.
You go to Jamaica, okay, and they have no respect for the law of the land, for anything at all, whether it is the criminal or traffic. They have no respect for the laws of the land. Not everyone, but the majority of the ones that came here.
Mm-hmm.
Because you driving, and you know what the last thing I see when them done? Me and my wife were going to town a few months ago. Went up on the Tibbetts Highway, headed towards town passing on the side of the dump. All of a sudden, I hear this motor on my left hand side. Okay, and that was, and I asked who he was, because I know him, a Jamaican who was taken on the left hand side on the road shoulder going up. We already got police. He made 3. Okay, he made 3 that morning, right? So I don't have time to worry about what people want to say, but what I say, I can just talk the truth and what God wants to hear the truth. Now, the other thing is that what needs to happen in this island with regard to the reckless and careless driving that is taking place, the police have their hands full. I ain't here to beat the police up this morning. They have their hands full, because with the amount of craziness on this road, you need 1 police officer, or you need 2 police officers for every driver. Okay? So I'm not going to beat them up. But what needs to happen is members of parliament need to go down to the Legislative Assembly, because you hear them talk about DUI. While the statistics are there, DUI, I don't think, has caused the many fatalities. And while I don't have the scientific data to show that texting or messaging and driving has caused substantial amount of road deaths, I mean, again, me and a friend was going to Georgetown just the other day. This person come in, texting, you can see them texting, and coming head on to us, and he blow the horn. Luckily, the person, once he's swinging, going right back to texting again. They got to go down to the Legislative Assembly and say, bring a law. They're giving the police officer the ability to arrest and charge that person on site, because not every traffic offense is arrestable, but that needs to be an arrestable offense, and take them down to the courthouse and automatically disqualify them for 2 years for texting and driving. That is careless and reckless. It is careless and reckless, and that needs to be looked after more now than any other offense while driving. That particular offense.
Mm-hmm.
It is crazy, man. How can you be driving and looking down your phone, texting or sending messages? Pull off the side of the road. That's what you got a break for. Pull off the side of the road and send your message.
Yeah.
Or if it can't be that important to cause your life. Anyway, you traversing in this island, it is 45 minutes at most.
Precisely.
Right? So pull off the side of the road, man.
Yep. I agree with you, caller, on that point. Thank you very much for that. Next caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. No callers. Okay, I'm going to come back to the traffic because, caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Caller, good morning.
Morning.
How are you?
Fine. How are you doing, Jose?
I'm fine, thanks. Happy Easter to you.
Same to you, man, and your family as well.
Thanks.
Your last caller, seems like that's a person pretty well has a mind like my own.
Okay.
We need to really, really, really get hold of ourselves, OC. Say what you mean and mean what you say. For too long, I have sat by and listened to so many taking Caymanians for the underdogs, like we're nothing because of what? Because of our culture, our kindness. They take our kindness and they call it weakness. When you're talking about bashing nationalities, you have some nationalities in this country. And you know me, I can say what I can say. I'm not going to say anything that I can't prove. But those people, where they come out from, they have no intention of improving themselves in the Cayman Islands. And I'm wondering now if this is my island or this is their island. Just a while ago, coming from the holding grounds down to the North Terminal, there is this guy with traffic. He's weaving in between to just get ahead of everybody else. I mean, what's really going on here? When you talk about the police force, let's address that properly. I remember, could be as much as 12 years ago, there was this guy coming up near Royal Palms with a full bus load of people taking the center lane. That's before they had the third lane, actually. And there was this English police on a motorbike. And he just flagged him down and put on his siren. He stopped. This guy had a full load of people, but he was out of order because he was driving also recklessly. Police got out and looked at the license plate and asked him apparently for his driver's license or whatever. While he was taking out the driver's license, the police were looking at it. You know what the guy did? He had a handheld radio, and he licked that police officer in the back of his head. Okay? And I never forget that. I think they had to take the guy and probably rush him to the hospital. These are the kind of savage, nothing less than savage acts that we have in the Cayman Islands. And no one has the guts or the balls to say, look, the game is over. Why don't we bring in some proper police, not saying that we don't have some, that is going to run it by the books instead of saying, because I know somebody or somebody know me, I'm going to give that one a bly. But when it comes to Caymanians, which we're not all apples as well, good apples, you're going to crucify them. It is obvious who runs the country and nothing is being done about it. But I will say that this morning, my friend, I got broad shoulders. I will call the shots how I see them. And it's high time for the Commissioner of Police to bring some proper police into this island who's going to run this thing by the books, not by excuses. So I'm not sorry. I'm glad that I'm saying what I have to say, and I hope someone will listen to me, and if they want to get in contact with me, that's not hard to do. OC, thank you so much for listening to me, Bo. Have a good day. Thank you.
Very much, caller. Thank you very much for that as well. Both callers talk about police presence. The last two callers talk about police presence on the road. Many jurisdictions and the Cayman Islands has spent an enormous amount of money on cameras, and you heard questions being raised in our Legislative Assembly in the Finance Committee in relation to the use of cameras, whether or not we have all that we need. You've heard people say the police can't be everywhere all of the time. An offense is committed in one area. If the police were standing there, probably it's quite possible that the offense would not be committed. But it is virtually impossible, physically impossible, for the police to be everywhere. The use of cameras, right? Read license plate readers. You identify the vehicle. The vehicle must have an owner. If that owner is not the driver of the vehicle, then they must know who was driving it. Otherwise, they have to take responsibility for it. And that is how you go about fining people, with administrative fines or otherwise. That is one way also to get those cars off the road that are unlicensed. What I find distressing is that, yes, the police, we're going out there after the unlicensed motorcyclists, those who have motorcycles that are not roadworthy or not designed for the roadways, and they're out there creating havoc amongst traffic, and we confiscate their motorcycles. My question is, do we do the same thing for automobiles as well? If they're unlicensed, do we confiscate them? We need to start to play more hardball with these offenders. We have to do it. I'm going to switch gears for a minute, though, and go to something else and give a big shout out to the usual Smith Bacadere Easter campers. My good friend Paula P. Is out there, and we still have a limited, I spoke about, all those people who go out camping, but we still have a limited amount of Caymanians who've secured their spots. So you want to get out there and get your spot secured. They want to give a big shout out. The Smith Bacadere Easter campers want to give a big shout out and thanks to Council MLA and Councillor Ms. Barbara Connolly for the attention that she has shown and the facelift that has been given to this most special spot in Smith's Bacadere. And they're hoping to see many more Caymanians and seniors alike embrace and enjoy this God-given little beach, this little beach that the Lord has afforded us, as well. They're going to be doing some cook up there and stuff like that. We may even join them up there for some dominoes, at some point in time. So, again, the Smith Bacadere campers are extremely thankful. We want to give a big shout out to the government and in particular to Ms. Barbara Connolly for the work that has been done to ensure and to restore that as well. Before we go to the news, I'm reading, 50 years ago, visitors welcomed and dangerous driving highlighted. And this is from the Caymanian Compass, and it says here, in the April 5th, 1967 edition of the Caymanian Weekly, a precursor of the Caymanian Compass, Bordentown correspondent Florence McCoy wrote, and on the topic of dangerous driving, she says, dangerous driving on the Bordentown Road. Many of us have observed that since road signs were placed reminding drivers that this is a 25-mile-per-hour zone, the incidence of speeding has increased. So you reminded them that it's 25 and they have increased. She goes on to write, people of Bordentown, our children, are in great danger it is typical of Cayman that no great precautions are taken until something seriously has happened. 2 boys were walking on the road on Sunday night. One was knocked by a car, and this I heard a lady say, if someone hadn't been on the road with my children, it could have been one of them. I hope everyone in this town realizes that it could have well been one of their own instead of a little Georgetown boy. Children, watch out for cars. The old proverb says, look before you leap. Parents, please let this be a matter of concern to warn your children every day. And careless drivers, remember, a good lawyer may save you some time from prison, but you will always have it on your conscience when some little child has been ushered into eternity because of your carelessness and lack of concern. This is in 1967. The population of the Cayman Islands around 1967 was less than 13,000, somewhere in between, I would say, the vicinity of 10 and 13,000. Those of you who are talking about dangerous driving and identifying a particular nationality, 1967, how many Jamaicans did we have in the Cayman Islands? How many other nationalities did we have in the Cayman Islands? We had, people, gentlemen like Easy, back and front, Mr. Nemard, Mr. Hilton, to name a few, many, many more Jamaicans that were here. This in 1967, they're talking about Caymanian drivers. So when we're talking about bad driving on the roads, we as Caymanians have to accept that we are part and parcel of that problem as well. Let's take a break. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
It was a day that changed my life. No words can describe the feelings of seeing my baby boy sick for the first time. The overwhelming feeling of fear to be responsible for his health and happiness became my priority. So I did what any nurturing mother would do when their baby is sick. I took him to get some of the best medicine possible.
CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy understands the importance of careful decisions you make every day for your family. Our staff work towards healthcare excellence and providing the most current and up-to-date training with pharmaceutical care, so you can feel confident in knowing that your family is safe with the right medication. At CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, we take care of your health.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
Hi, I'm thinking of buying a car from the States. Which port do you ship out of?
Hi, we ship out of Miami, Houston, and Brooklyn. Just let us know your port of choice and we can provide you with a quotation and answer any questions you may have on insuring and protecting your vehicle during its journey.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
Why my wife always asking if I'm in a rush when she's the one always making us late?
Might as well say, yeah, I'm in a rush and go buy the new Toyota Rush you've been talking about. Cause they on sale this month. Dial teacher.
The super special spring SUV sale at Vamped Motors. Save up to $4,400 with SUVs starting at only $23,500, like the 7-seater Toyota Rush. Save money, get cash back, or use the discount to upgrade features on the SUV of your choice, including the Toyota RAV4, the Fortuner, the Rush, or the Ford EcoSport. It's our super special spring SUV sale. Only at Vamped Motors, Walkers Road.
It's Radio Cayman's 43rd anniversary. And to celebrate, we're offering all clients, businesses, and nonprofits special anniversary rates on commercial advertising all through April up until Mother's Day. Increase sales, drive store traffic, and gain customers and interest by advertising on the #1 station in talk radio and news. Radio Cayman 89.9 FM. 30 or 45-second commercials are as low as $10 with 3 advertising packages to choose from. Perfectly tailored for small, medium, or large businesses. Call Anita, Kathy, or Ray at 949-7799 or email rcsales@gov.ky for your Radio Cayman 43rd anniversary sales package today.
Get you ready. Set your date.
Saturday, April 27th, the annual Rotary Central Bill Rudy Science Fair at the Camana Bay Arts and Recreation Center, 9 a.m. through noon. Witness over 130 next-generation scientists representing over 12 primary schools, including Kim and Brack, deliver fresh ideas, solutions, and innovation covering life sciences, earth science, physics, chemistry, food and health, and more than meets the eye. 3 hours of science-spiration by the next generation. Major sponsors, Dark Minds Inspired and Green Turtle Express. Rotary Central Bill Rudy Science Fair 2019. Ideas, innovation, inspiration.
At Kirk's Home Center, we can make your life much better. We got it all together. We got a great deal in store for you.
This week at Kirk Home Center, save on the bulldozer broom, perfect for sweeping up concrete, asphalt, and wood surfaces for $12.39. Fill your home with fragrance with Woodwick's warmer system for $12.49. Give walls a fresh look with Red Seal flat white paint for $28.39, and make precision cuts with a chop saw for $122.39.
Kirk's Home Center, we got a great deal in store for you.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We have one caller, so I'm going straight to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Morning. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm fine, and you?
Good.
Happy Easter to you.
Same to you.
Thanks.
I heard you earlier talking about having a more stringent driving test, but I don't think that's the solution at all.
Okay.
I think having a harder test will only ensure that it's harder to pass the test.
And that in itself may keep some bad drivers off the road if they can't pass.
No, I think
or at least from getting a license.
No, I think the assumption that they're driving the way they're driving is because they don't know any better. I'm not sure that's actually correct. I think they just don't care.
Yeah.
And so they'll pass the test but still not care.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the frustration that you have on the road has to do with just the way that we are planning in general, because people are trying to overcome the situation of sitting in traffic, so they become impatient and try to get around cars in front of them by doing dangerous things. And I think what we should be looking at is things like mixed-use development. So instead of you having to drive from Boddentown to get into town, what if you were living on the 4th floor of the building that you worked in? And things along that line will help reduce the traffic that we're having coming from on the same roads from away from where you work. Now, one of the other problems that we have is how we design roads. We're famous for creating bottlenecks, and we really need to get away from that. And while some people might not want it, unless we're going to radically change the way we operate as a country, probably going to have to go to overpasses and to get around the situation we have with the traffic coming out of the eastern districts into Georgetown in the morning.
But caller, when do we reach the point where we say that we cannot continue to build and build out and build out to accommodate the traffic? At some point in time, it's going to reach critical mass, and we have to do something about it other than trying to build out.
Okay. So if you didn't have the bottleneck right there in beginning by the Tomlinson roundabout, go down to Kings, down to about where Kings is. Mm-hmm. That region right there is where the problem is. So what if you had an alternate for people who are not going headed to the area of Georgetown that's on the south side of Georgetown proper, right? Mm-hmm. What if you could take an alternate route and you didn't have a bottleneck, right? You wouldn't be having the kind of lengthy waits that you're having right now. And so you could say that you're not going to be building out for traffic, but traffic is a consequence of us allowing people to be here in the first place. And when I say be here, I don't mean non-Caymanians. I mean, everybody. So unless we plan on having a reduction in the growth of population, which I don't recommend because Caymanian is not producing enough as it is, then you're going to have growth. And so what we're really talking about is how do we manage the growth that we're experiencing. And part of that is how do you design your network to accommodate that growth, your road network. And so I'm just saying that it's about how we plan, because we what we normally do is we normally wait until something is a crisis, until the topic shows up on the talk show, until politicians are being beaten to death on the radio, and then maybe in a couple of years we act. That's not how we run a country. We need to think about proper planning, including for the road network. Now, I'm not opposed to having public transportation. I just don't think public transportation is simply going to replace most of the private vehicles. People are just not going to opt for giving up the freedom that comes along with that, right? So I like the idea of a light rail system that was mentioned. I think it was by the leader of the opposition, if I remember correctly. What if we could develop something like that that was alternatively powered? Right? That's not a bad idea.
No.
But that isn't going to solve all of our problems. Right? It's a part of the solution, but you still are going to need to have, how will this light rail system, if you let's say you were going to take it from East End to West Bay, okay? How do you now prevent that light rail system from becoming an obstacle to slow down traffic along the way?
Yeah, depending on how it is designed, yeah.
Right. So, and all I'm talking about is how do we plan properly so that we're not failing to consider the other aspects in which we're developing, so we minimize the negative impacts of those things when they come together. So you have multiple roads. One of the things that we've done in Cayman is we've moved away from traffic lights, which I like. Two reasons. One is the traffic flows smoother, in my opinion.
If drivers know how to negotiate them, how to use them properly,
Right, but we're not going to ever do away with stupid people on the road. That's kind of like saying that no younger generation is ever going to rebel against the views of the older generation. It's not going to happen. But the other thing is, if
very quickly, caller, I'm going to ask you to wrap up for me.
Yeah, if there's a hurricane, then what roundabouts do is they eliminate the problem of not having traffic lights if you were to have that system.
Yep.
So I'm just talking about us planning better. That's what we need to focus on.
Okay. Thank you very much, caller. We're going to take a commercial break. We still have another caller on hold. Caller hanging there. As soon as we return from this commercial break, we will take your call.
Why my wife always asking if I'm in a rush when she's the one always making us late?
Might as well say, yeah, I'm in a rush and go buy the new Toyota Rush you've been talking about. Because they on sale this month. Dial, teacher.
The super special spring SUV sale at Vamped Motors. Save up to $4,400 with SUVs starting at only $23,500, like the 7-seater Toyota Rush. Save money, get cash back, or use the discount to upgrade features on the SUV of your choice, including the Toyota RAV4, the Fortuner, the Rush, or the Ford EcoSport. It's our super special spring SUV sale. Only at Vamped Motors, Walkers Road.
Get you ready. Set your date.
Saturday, April 27th, the annual Rotary Central Bill Rudy Science Fair at the Camana Bay Arts and Recreation Center, 9 a.m. through noon. Witness over 130 next-generation scientists representing over 12 primary schools, including Kim and Brack, deliver fresh ideas, solutions, and innovation covering life sciences, earth science, physics, chemistry, food and health, and more than meets the eye. 3 hours of science-spiration by the next generation. Major sponsors, Dart Minds Inspired and Green Turtle Express. Rotary Central Bill Rudy Science Fair 2019. Ideas, innovation, inspiration.
Saturday night at 8 o'clock on Breeze Radio, 105.3 FM in Grand Cayman and 91.9 FM in Kimmenbrack and Little Cayman. You can listen to your Yesteryear Musical Special Easter Edition, featuring musical reflections of the cross, the crucifixion, and the resurrection. Saturday, 8 p.m. on Breeze Radio, your Yesteryear Musical Easter Edition. Tune in. You'll like it. Your Yesteryear Musical. Enlightening, entertaining, and inspirational.
Becoming a member of the Cayman Islands Civil Service Association is quick and easy, and the benefits are immense. Simply complete the enrollment form, www.cicsa.ky, and return it to any member of the Management Council or the Secretary, Ms. Zita May Bodden, at the Registrar's Office on the first floor of the Government Administration Building. It's only $5 a month, which is automatically deducted from your salary, and voila, it's that easy. The Cayman Islands Civil Service Association membership is open to all civil servants, statutory authority employees, government company employees, and all retired civil servants.
For more information on becoming a member or the benefits of the Civil Service Association, please visit www.cisca.ky. That's CICSA.ky.
This Easter weekend, the Cayman Islands will welcome the rest of the Caribbean, and you do not want to miss it. Carifta 2019 takes place at the Truman Bodden Sports Complex from April 20th to 22nd. Watch the region's most talented track and field athletes compete and come cheer on your Cayman athletes. Get ready to raise your flags at the Caribbean's biggest athletic event this Easter weekend. It's Carifta 2019. Tickets start as low as $10.
Get your tickets now at CaymanCarifta2019.ky or Funky Tanks and Reflections. Brought to you by the Cayman Islands Government, CUC, Salt Technology Group, the Cayman Islands Athletic Association, Cayman Islands Olympic Committee, DART, Miracle Brokers, Maples Group, Pinnacle Media, World Gym, and Radio Cayman.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. No guests in the studio. We started talking a little bit about Easter, camping, picnicking. The topic that has dominated the discussion so far is the traffic situation, bad driving on the road. So we will continue along that vein until something else comes about. This person writes and says, this one is pretty controversial, I would say. Says, Mr. Connor, dangerous driving Caymanians are women. And you talk about road rage. Yes, Caymanian women, not the men. They are more courteous, that is the men. I am a woman. I am a Cayman woman speaking the truth. So this person says, well, as a woman speaking about women, I'm not going to go down that road at all, but I gave it to you as I got it. What I will say, is that a lot of the bad driving, a lot of the slow driving on the road. Now, if you have been on the roads of the Cayman Islands, especially in the morning when there is traffic, you reach a point and there's a huge gap where there is no traffic at all. That is because you have someone driving in a 40 mile per hour zone, driving at 25 miles an hour, many times driving in the right-hand lane, which should be the passing lane, but unfortunately they don't know that, because even if they had answered the question correctly on the written examination for a driver's license, even if they had answered it correctly, they're not practicing it. They probably didn't remember it. So you have these slow drivers out there impeding traffic from even driving at not only the legal speed limit, but the speed limit that the flow of traffic would allow you to drive at, because someone else is out there. Now, why is that? Because for whatever reason, here in the Cayman Islands, we have attracted, in terms of our policies in relation to vehicle ownership and vehicle importation, every Tom, Dick, Harry, and Jane can bring a car into these islands, get a driver's license, and drive on the roads. People who are coming from jurisdictions where they have never been behind the wheel of a car before, or behind the wheel of any vehicle before. So again, when we talk about aggressive driving in the Cayman Islands, a lot of that has to do with this quote-unquote newfound freedom that some people have found by their ability to own a motor vehicle and their ability to drive a vehicle on the roads of the Cayman Islands. Their driving and their driving experience is not fit for purpose even on the roads of the Cayman Islands. Those are my opinions. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Sosie.
Good morning, sir.
This Easter, I get away from the traffic business right now.
Okay.
People camping out different areas in Cayman, and Smith Cove is a very popular place, right?
Smith back there.
Smith back there. Sorry. I'm a Caymanian, you know. You know that.
Yeah.
But now, when those people out there, the children are running about playing, the adults sort of sleeping in late. I think it's very inconsiderate for a church, so the march is starting at 4:30, ending at Spit back there. They'll be at around 5 o'clock in the morning. When a lot of us don't want to be sleeping, a lot of children around and playing, and there's many parts of the island that the church could go without going to Spit back there. I know there's going to be a lot of complaints.
Mm-hmm.
Because the children running there, they have no service to complain. And people are going to complain about the church making them up that time in the morning when they want to sleep. So I think the church should consider where they should have that meeting at Smith Cove, at Smith back there, in Easter. Many parts of the island they can go where there are no campers. Right? Just a word of them. Maybe somebody can call in and give their opinions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, caller. I think we can grab another caller before 9 o'clock. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC.
Good morning.
And a blessed Easter to you.
Thank you.
And Susan and all the Radio Cayman.
Thank you, and the same to you.
Radio Cayman, we don't know nothing. We enjoy your station, Radio Cayman, our station,
yes,
Radio Cayman.
That's right.
I just heard what the gentleman said, but I know that churches used to. I don't know about Smith Cove. I really don't. But I know churches used to have
baptism,
sunrise service. I think it was organized by the Ministers Association on the 7 Mile Public Beach. But unfortunately now somebody else owns that. We call it our public beach. They better think again if they think it's we public beach. But like I had said before on your radio show about the traffic, take a drive down Turtle Farm Road and one day they'll make $500,000. Make I tell you, OC, it is ridiculous the way that tour bus, especially tour bus drivers drive. One time, in fact, it was the last time we were in Switzerland. We were going to take Patrick to the train station, and Switzerland has a train station that goes right into the airport. Anyway, it was dark in the morning, and Peter thought he could get away with something. So we dropped him off and spun around in the road, and there goes flash. And he said, oh, my goodness, they got me. And believe me, 2 weeks after we returned from Switzerland, there was our traffic ticket. And I still wonder how they got it. But they knew where we rented the car. They seen the license plate and everything. So there you go. How can we not do that? But half of these cameras on the road do not work. Government keep piling money into those that is pocketing and no results. No results. Oh, sorry. Some results for some people. Anyway, good show as usual, and I wish everyone a blessed Easter, and please mind the driving out there. Look out for each other and love each other like we used to. Not have protesting and whatnot in the middle of a Easter week. Thank you, OC, and God bless you and Radio Cayman.
Thank you very much, and the same to you as well. I just want to say that there have been several Easters where we have actually had some road fatalities in the Cayman Islands during the Easter period as well. We have a caller, but we only have about 2 minutes. I don't think that's going to be sufficient time, but I can read a little bit more here again very quickly. 50 years ago, speeding store spurs readers' comments on breakers on the January 11th, 1967, in that edition of the Caymanian Weekly. The article says, "Fine for speeding. The new police car was responsible for a successful prosecution for speeding last week in the Petticoat on Friday before Judge Horsfall." You remember Judge Horsfall? Compton Williams of Bordentown was fined £20 for speeding in the Savannah 25-mile zone on Thursday, the 29th of December, 1966. In the paper's January 25th edition, the following letter was published. "Is breakers forgotten? Dear editor, while reading the Caymanian Weekly January 11th issue, I noticed when a driver was fined £20 for speeding in the Savannah 25-mile zone. The thought came to me, why a speed limit sign is not speed limit sign is not put in a district of breakers, or is this district entirely forgotten? More to give you on that when we return from a headline news at 9 o'clock, and we still have that caller that we will take as well. So please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Satisfaction is guaranteed 24 hours a day, whether it's music or information.
From Grand Cayman to Cayman Brac to Little Cayman, we've got you covered.
You ever hear a thing like that?
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman. Radio Cayman's newsroom. These are the biggest stories right now.
Motorists seeking access to the University College of the Cayman Islands and the Truman Bond Sports Complex from Walker's Road can look forward to a, quote, significantly shorter journey now that Phase 1 of the construction of a connector road is underway. The National Roads Authority says a quarter-mile in length, the road begins near Burger King on Walker's Road and stretches to the northern end of Olympic Way near the UCCI entrance. France is to invite architects from around the world to submit their designs for a new spire to sit atop a renovated Notre Dame cathedral. The Prime Minister told reporters they hope for a new spire that is adapted to the technologies and the challenges of our era. The spire was completely destroyed in the blaze that tore through the 850-year-old Gothic building's roof. And Indonesia's president looks to be on course for re-election, according to unofficial results released within hours of polls closing. Joko Widodo is about 10 percentage points ahead of his rival. Official results are not expected until May, but the so-called quick counts undertaken by polling companies have proved correct in previous years. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. I will continue to read from this article after we take the caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Connor.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Okay. And you?
I'm fine, thanks. Happy Easter to you too.
Same to you, sir. Well, the question that I asked, I think it was last week, Friday, when Mr. Miller was there, that if Cayman went independent today, what would be the value of our dollar? And Mr. Miller said the value of our dollar would be the same because our mother country, England, were not the ones to get us where we are today, that our dollar is valued what it is today. He said that started from our seafarers when they were sending money home.
Mm-hmm.
That helped our economy to start from then to get where it is today.
Mm-hmm.
And he also said that once we stay on the right track, as we are now, the value of our dollar will stay the same. And he said that if we did not do anything to jeopardize that 15 or 20 years from today, our dollar will not be the same as it is today.
Okay.
And he also said, so Mr. Steve McPhee called in, and he said that our people need to be educated about independence.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I see England doing right now concerning same-sex marriage and putting to the floor of the House in Parliament in England, mentioning that they would be able to run for election in overseas territories and become members of the Legislative Assembly. These types of things that we, as an overseas territory, the Caymanian people do not agree with. And if they're going to tell us what to do on paper instead of asking us, I think our relationship with our mother country, England, is not going to go very well. And Mr. Miller said that once we make a plan, going independent, and a caller called in, Mr. Hurston called in concerning having to
caller, we have that all on record, and you can go back on YouTube and play it. I need you to get to the point rather than repeating what every caller said on the show.
Okay. Well, as a citizen of this country, and from the talk that we had with Mr. Miller on your show the other day, I, as a Caymanian, would agree to go independent.
Okay.
And I would agree to go independent as soon as possible while our economy and while the value of our dollar is where it is today. And that's where I stand right now for that. Thank you.
That's a very valid point, caller. A very valid point. Strike while the iron is hot, right? While things are hot, that's the time to do it as well. One of our listeners, this person, they know Cayman, says listening to that article in Breakers about the speeding ticket given to Compton Williams. That person was the pastor of Church of God, and he was from British Guyana. So Compton Williams, certainly not that Williams, not a Caymanian last name, and I want to thank that listener and that writer for passing that information on to us as well. Goes to show you how much we know about Cayman, and I like it when people are able to add to what we have to say here. This other writer says, good morning, OC. A few comments on current affairs. The human rights people seem to be very selective in what they choose to defend. Why is a particular lifestyle more important than people's welfare? Why are they not raising Cain about the injustice being faced by immigrant workers at the hands of the business class who are paying slave wages? These people are subjected to the worst working and living conditions and can contribute nothing to the economy due to the wages that they receive. 2, I have to applaud Dr. McPhee on his stance about Caymanians in poverty. A lot of us refuse to work for these ridiculous wages which are insulting and unfair. 3, most of these migrant workers are intelligent and disciplined, so why do employers allow greed to dictate their behavior? Cheap labor is a deterrent to growing an economy, as no one has the funds to spend, only to barely survive. 4, how many Caymanians can afford property on West Bay Road. The real estate people have actually annexed that area and are now heading east. Lord, help us. I can only say, in terms of that last comment and question and comment in relation to property, if you're a Caymanian and if you can afford it, buy property wherever you can in the Cayman Islands. Buy it wherever you can, because at some point in time, that piece of property is going to have value, greater value to it. So it is not too late for Caymanians to buy property. It's not too late for you to adopt the same principles that our forefathers adopted in terms of paying on terms. We used to call it paying on terms for property as well. So we want to do that. But some very provocative, thought-provocative questions that that writer raised as well. This other person says, certainly agree with the caller about going independent sooner than later. We have been independent from 1503. See, the thing is that until recently, no one wanted to have the conversation on independence. It is an issue that I believe that politicians need to take the lead on. Those with that conviction, because there are some who believe simply that independence is not a viable option for the Cayman Islands. But for those who do believe it, I think it is incumbent upon them to take the lead in that area and to start the discussion. Because the funny thing is, you don't know how many people out there are in favor of it. You don't know how many people who are now seeing what we're experiencing in the overseas territories, whose minds may have changed as a result of it. You don't know how many people, after listening to rational, reasonable discussions about independence, and not only discussing the pros, but also the cons, so that you lay it all. You put all of your cards on the table. How many people will then understand and may be able to then make a more informed decision rather than simply reacting, on the basis of simply emotions and nothing else. So, really, really extremely important. I'm going to, before we go to the next break, I'm going to continue to read this article about breakers. Says the writer, the correspondent goes on to write and say, last Thursday about 7 a.m., a speeding car killed 3 of my neighbor's chickens. True enough, but suppose there were 3 children instead, and especially where there are so many little ones waiting along the roadside for a bus to take them to school. There is another great necessity that we were deprived of about 3 years ago, which was the Breakers School closed, is a question needs to be that is being asked by many. So that was about the Breakers School closing as well. But again, 1967, the number of vehicles on the road, the number of drivers on the road, the number of immigrants that we had in the Cayman Islands, including Pastor Compton Williams as well. But there we were talking about traffic situation, speeding in 1967. There is this phenomenon. There is something about a person or some persons when they get behind the wheel of a vehicle, an inanimate object that they're sitting behind the wheel of, and you have this dominant human being who is in control of this vehicle and can let it do whatever that driver wants to do. Maybe we need to look at the psychological aspect of this whole thing and the psychology of drivers, even those in the tourist industry, those bus drivers out there. What is going through their mind when they have that passenger in there? Is it, let me get from point A to point B as quickly as possible so I can make the next dollar? What is behind their thinking? What is behind the thinking of the person who's sitting in traffic heading to work? Let me see if I can get there quicker than the other person. Am I going to lose my job because I get there too late or whatever? We need to start to look at that because there is obviously something that is affecting them. Here's another one. Written, good morning. I'm a young Caymanian, 22 years of age. In relation to the same-sex marriage, I'm heterosexual, but I think everyone is entitled to their own happiness. Who are we to judge? Very, very good point. And I also saw a comment in relation to some people saying, about the couple who now have their case in court in relation to same-sex marriages, that they're not out there attacking the churches. And why is it then that the religious institutions are, in some instances, personally, or some people in the religious institutions are personally attacking them as well? We have heard some really, really homophobic comments in relation to these individuals and what people have said that should happen to them. Totally uncalled for. And I agree with this 22-year-old heterosexual person that who are we to judge? I believe that there is a portion in the Bible that says, judge not, that ye be not judged. Time for a commercial break, folks. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
I have various items coming from different suppliers that I need to ship to Cayman. Do you offer consolidation?
Yes. Seaboard Marine offers consolidation for full and less than container loads. We can hold your packages at our Miami warehouse until everything arrives and ship it all in one go. And we have the best rates to Grand Cayman. Visit seaboardmarine.com for more information.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
I remember playing at 7 Mile Beach as a boy, eating mango by the sea, learning how to snorkel. My mother, she worked so hard to provide for our family so that we could have those moments. Seeing her age has been tough. That strong, capable woman, now in need of daily support, it's my time to be strong for her.
CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy understands the importance of the careful decisions you make every day for your family. Our staff work towards healthcare excellence and providing the most current and up-to-date training with pharmaceutical care, so you can feel confident in knowing that your family is safe with the right medication. At CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, we take care of your health.
While the primary source of alcohol for underage drinkers is people they know, research shows that 7 to 9% of those who report alcohol use in the Cayman Islands purchase alcohol directly from retailers. Tips Off-Premise helps retailers focus on verifying the legal drinking age when selling alcohol. Since the program was introduced here in the Cayman Islands back in 2005, we have trained over 400 persons and partnered with over 10 retailers. Contact us on 949-9000 to have your staff trained today. This message is brought to you by Radio Cayman and the National Drug Council.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We have two callers, but before I go to the caller, I just want to, give recognition to those persons who have sent emails in as well. And this writer has said, I think the requirements for the bus operators must be Caymanians. However, it is the operators that operators hire non-Caymanian drivers. A requirement should be implemented to hire Caymanian drivers. The non-Caymanian drivers know little about the island's history to tell tourists. So that is that writer's view in relation to that. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, For the Record.
Good morning, Doc. How are you?
Not bad. This is your friend Steve McField.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The caller that spoke about my statement that we need to be educated, and that is because I wanted to have people to understand how we got here and why we're in this position, and that there are two watershed dates, times in our history that is very, very important. That people I don't see them in the newspapers, in the Compass or in CNS. I don't hear anything written about it in the schools. And the first watershed date is 1831 to 1863. You remember that, Orrett? What happened there?
Can you repeat the dates?
December 1831. That was when Caymanians took their own independence from Peter St. James.
Yes.
And formed their own bicameral legislature.
Right.
2 houses, upper house and lower house. And it was 1863 when the British Parliament passed the Caymanian Act and drove the Caymanian people under the auspices of the Jamaica legislature.
That's correct.
Gave the Jamaica legislature the power to make laws for the peace, order, and good governance of Cayman. And we had been a dependency of Jamaica ever since that time, until the 18th, until January, until 1962. But the other watershed dates were the 17th, the 18th, and 19th of January 1962, when Governor Blackburn came down here and explained to us our future, when he explained that Jamaica was going into independence that year on the 6th of August. They were going into independence. They were just and he came in January and February. The Jamaica delegation went up to England to work out their new constitution. And Jamaica, who were administering us, had given us a new constitution that would have given us full internal self-government, running our own affairs, except to the fact that we would have to pay for defense and external affairs.
Correct.
And people ought to know what happened in the history of those dates, why we are in this position today, and why people are so scared of independence. And that's the reasons why people couldn't talk about it, because they would be jeopardizing their position, their jobs, their whole future, because it's still a mystery to me in Cayman why a certain group of people don't want the majority of people or another group of people to talk about independence. And that is the reason why I say we should, and like you just said, and I agree with you, we should publicly debate the pros and cons of independence, because it has some good things, it has some bad things, and there are some things you have to do and you have to know. For instance, when you have to borrow money and things like that, you have to go to these vulture capitalists, the IMF and World Bank and all that kind of stuff, and you have to know what happens when you get into that situation. So people ought to know. And what we should be doing, we should be debating that on your show openly. We should have talks about it, round tables about it, talks about it, so that we can start at least having a dialogue of whether we should want to take the step or not. That's the one thing. And secondly, the other thing is about the traffic and stuff in the Cayman Islands. Have you been to Vancouver, British Columbia?
No, I haven't, Doc.
Well, you should visit there, because Vancouver, many years, 40 years ago, had the same problem that we have now. And the city council, the mayor and his council brought in experts. One of the experts was a man called Master Erickson, who is a urban architect. He has a degree in urban geography, and said to them, "We want you to build a city, to remodel a city where people can live and stuff, and where you can eliminate the traffic." And that's what they did.
Okay.
What we need to do, or what we should have done, is to start diversifying our services. For example, what we should have done instead of putting the University College right next to the John Gray, we should have put it in Boston Town or someplace. What we should have done, we should have taken ministries and put ministries in different districts.
Mm-hmm.
So that you don't have all the ministries on the one roof.
Right. All roads wouldn't have to lead to Rome.
Exactly. And then we need to have multiple development, like as Mr. Dan Warren said. We should have done that long time ago. Multiple development where people live in the city and don't have to get a car to drive into the city. And Georgetown is one of the only day towns I see in the Caribbean, actually. After 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
It's completely dead. There's nobody living there. There's nobody's window shopping.
No activity,
There's no restaurants open. There's nothing like that in Georgetown. Everybody's gone. And then in the morning, everybody's flocking back to this place. We need, and Orrett, this is not a criticism, but this is just my observation.
Mm-hmm.
This committee, they have to plan Georgetown. I don't see any urban geographers on it at all.
Okay.
I don't see any urban architects, urban planners on it at all.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem, and that is going to be. It's going to, the Georgia, whatever they do with it, it's going to be what one group of people say should be happening.
I see.
And then we're going to go back. We're going to the problems are going to continue. That's what we need. We need the people who can plan the urban geography. I didn't even know anything. I thought geography was just about the weather, the seas, the mountains, and stuff.
The topography, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Where you plan how people will live and how they should. And another thing, they were talking about the cameras. Well, I think it's 12 pounds or 16 or 20 pounds now, according to what kind of car you're driving, for you to drive into London.
Yes.
How do you think they collect that money?
I think it's called a congestion tax or something like that. Yes. Uh-huh.
But every time you pass, they got your license plate.
Yep, that's right.
Every time you come in and every time you go out, it's London.
Yeah. We have to rely more on technology here in the Cayman Islands, Doc. We definitely have to. Doc, I'm going to ask you to leave us there. I want to say to you, have a happy Easter, and we will be talking soon as well.
Thank you.
Do we have time for another call before the break, Miss Susan? Let's try to take the other caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC. I'm sorry for calling.
That's okay.
Again,
that's okay.
But there's certain things that Radio Cayman helps me to get off their chest, off my chest, I should say. Is that Dr. McFeel is right. I mean, right. Thank you, Dr. McFeel, and I hope that he has a blessed Easter as well. Now, yesterday at the World Day of Prayer, there was a few ministers that had felt pressed to bring up the same subject as same-sex marriage. Now, I never had any church. It could be, but I never had any church or heard of any church praying with people that don't have jobs, praying with people and protesting, because that's what I call Saturday afternoon fiasco. Protesting against men that beat their wives, even some ministers, women that abuse their children that are right in their congregation. They now go out and protest against that. Oh, no. They feel that they're high and mighty and holier than thou, and yet they don't do these things. They on the radio, on your show yesterday, on the news, they said about a man, I ain't gonna call him gentleman, that had molested an 11-year-old at Smith Cove, and he got 12 weeks, and then after that, he'll be
deported.
Deported. But look at the numerous things that has happened. 6 years old children that their lives have been ruined through rape and whatnot. Does the church protest about that? No, because you know why? 1 or 2 of those same people that do that is in their congregation. When you have children, you should not go out and protest about things like same-sex marriage. You know why? Because you don't know what that child will, all the guidance and the praying that you do, what guidance and praying that you do, what they would turn out to be after they get an adult or even before they get an adult. So I disdain the fact that they're doing this sort of thing, because it's only going to bring hatred to those that are gay. A lot of hatred, yet we're saying we're Christian Island, we're this and that. That is, I have much more to say, but I leave it at that. That is my opinion, and I said it to Dwayne, and my opinion only. And who don't like it can call me Shirlene Schmid in Northwest Pike. My number's in the book. Thank you, O.C. Have a blessed Easter.
Thank you very much, caller. We're going to a commercial break. We have one caller who has rejoined us, and we will take that call as soon as we return from the commercial break.
Why my wife always asking if I'm in a rush when she's the one always making us late?
Might as well say, yeah, I'm in a rush, and go buy the new Toyota Rush you've been talking about, because they on sale this month. Dial, teacher.
The super special spring SUV sale at Vant Motors. Save up to $4,400 with SUVs starting at only $23,500, like the 7-seater Toyota Rush. Save money, get cash back, or use the discount to upgrade features on the SUV of your choice, including the Toyota RAV4, the Fortuner, the Rush, or the Ford EcoSport. It's our super special spring SUV sale. Only at Vant Motors, Walkers Road.
Get you ready. Set your date.
Saturday, April 27th, the annual Rotary Central Bill Rudy Science Fair at the Camana Bay Arts and Recreation Center, 9 a.m. through noon. Witness over 130 next-generation scientists representing over 12 primary schools, including Kim and Brack, deliver fresh ideas, solutions, and innovation covering life sciences, earth science, physics, chemistry, food and health, and more than meets the eye. 3 hours of science-spiration by the next generation. Major sponsors, Dart Minds Inspired and Green Turtle Express. Rotary Central Bill Rudy Science Fair 2019. Ideas, innovation, inspiration.
Tune in Monday through Friday from 3 to 6 p.m.
Exclusive.
Radio Cayman's Super Jam Show, the #1 drive time entertainment show on your radio, featuring Will Sinatra. Enjoy a mix of pop, hip-hop, dancehall, and soca.
The Super Jam Show is fueled by the proud sponsorship of Fitness Plus and Train with Dre.
Get top-rated personal training or build your very own home or office gym today. Every Saturday morning at 9.
Bob, you got to turn around this plane. See my box down there with my parrot and rabbits.
Right here on Radio Cayman.
In Cayman, we are surrounded by water and make our living by farming the sea.
Come join us as we proudly present Caymanian Stories.
The whole problem started when Kanka promised Mrs. June that she would babysit her daughter, Lil Kelly, one Saturday afternoon.
Caymanian Stories is proudly sponsored by Cayman National Bank, serving the Cayman Islands since 1974. Visit Cayman National Bank today for all your financial needs.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the Record with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're going to the phone lines as promised. Caller, good morning. Welcome back to For the Record.
Mr. Ossie, just a short thing again.
Okay.
I don't know, you may have observed, but I have, that there's two sets of people that even if they're wrong, you're not supposed to say anything about them. One of them is the churches. I'm sure a lot of people maybe agree they should not have their meeting there. And I hope after Easter that these same church people don't complain about people playing music or children making too much noise during their service. Right? Anyway, to pass on to that, one of the things Jesus warned about greatly was hypocrisy. Right? And I had a cousin who was studying to be a minister in the States. And because he had a sermon against the gay people, he was actually kicked out of the seminary. Some of those same people in that same college are actually preaching in Cayman. So obviously, they agree with it. Right? Now, there's other things that the church could be mindful of, like the human rights of someone who smokes ganja, which is a medicine, which is sanctioned by the Bible, every green herb for food. It is not as dangerous as alcohol or cigarettes. Right? The rate of catching HIV among homosexuals is a lot less higher than normal people. Yet they're throwing people in jail, making them lose their jobs just because they smoke a spliff of ganja. Now, if that is not unfair, I don't know what is. But the churches are the main ones why the government do not change it. Yeah? And there's many other things. Just a few thoughts. And one more thing. I don't know if England is really understand what she's doing in trying to force things on Cayman. Because Cayman may be a little in the dependent territory. But other dependent territories are listening to what happens with Cayman. And the first time I've heard people talk about independence since I was a young man is now. I never thought I would see the day that Caymanians would be voting for independence. And if Cayman breaks away from England, there's most likely other dependent countries will do it as well, which is the start of the breakup of the British Commonwealth, which Her Majesty has spent so much time trying to keep together. So the elected government in England are actually doing things that will hinder the development of what Her Majesty herself has been trying to do for many years. Right? That's all. Thank you very much for your time, Mr. Lee.
Thank you very much, caller, for that as well. I want to go back to Dr. McField's comments, his discussions, and I'm going to read something from Mr. Erman Patton's book, A Special Son. And in it he writes, and this is the chapter relating to the West Indies Federation, and he writes, it was in the course of these West Indies Federation talks at the famous Red House, Trinidad's Legislative Assembly, that some officials from the UK assigned to the Cayman team suggested a route that Cayman should consider taking: full internal self-government with no federation membership, but loose ties would have the West Indies Federation responsible for Cayman's foreign affairs and defense at a cost of £20,000 per annum. It sounded like the answer to Cayman's prayers. They would be controlling virtually all of their destiny without being subject to the untested federation. He's quoted as saying, "We understood that this meant we would have no more links with Britain, and that everything depended on Britain ratifying the whole federation. Britain ratifying the whole federation proposal and ours too. We were still colonies, but it was now common knowledge that Britain wanted the federation to succeed, and the Cayman group all agreed that if we could get this special arrangement, that was the way to proceed." At this stage, Norman Manley sounded a note of caution to Ormond Panton. I understand what you fellows want, and I will help you," he told the Caymanian. But you have to lobby very carefully. If you are to get a different position on the outskirts of the Federation, it might lead to the problem of others wanting that same special status and could cause desertions. Get the approval of the various groups before you declare what you want. So here was a situation where Cayman was given an offer, and they thought it was good for the Cayman Islands, but unless the other parties agreed to it, it could possibly create desertion from other members of the Federation to want to have a similar system, and as a result of that, the Federation would collapse. Well, we know that the Federation eventually collapsed. We know that Cayman never took that offer up, and we know why. And so that is where we are today as a result of that. So I just wanted to share that with you. Something else I want to share with you, talking about Easter. April 14th, 1966, Tradewinds newspaper, courtesy of Miss Joellen Thompson, who received these copies from Miss Artis Smith, who worked at the Tradewinds newspaper and at one point in time was the correspondent for the District of West Bay as well. Costa Rican Easter visit. On the 7th of April, a small group of people left Owen Roberts Airfield to spend their Easter vacation over in Costa Rica. They flew by LACSA, who were kind enough to afford them every privilege. These not only included first-class service, but an astute understanding of the alcoholic acids of the British civil engineers. The party stayed at the Balmoral Hotel in San Jose, the capital. This hotel was most comfortable, and the food was excellent besides being very cheap. The rooms were 32 shillings per night, and one had the use of a TV, radio, and telephone. During their stay, the party had guided tours around the capital and the surrounding countryside. The impression that everyone came away with was that Costa Rica was an extremely sophisticated country with endless opportunities for the businessman. The housing had to be seen to be believed. The imagination that had gone into a lot of the buildings leaves nothing to be desired. The roads are all paved with asphalt. The main arterial roads are dual carriageways. The main exports are coffee and banana, both of which grow in abundance throughout the country. So here was Easter trip to Costa Rica by a group of Caymanians going via Laxa to Costa Rica on the Easter. Now we see more Easter excursions leaving the Cayman Islands to take expatriate workers home during the Easter break, and as well as to bring family members for them to enjoy the Easter vacation here in the Cayman Islands as well. So the tide has almost reversed. But at one point in time, Costa Rica was a very, very popular destination for Caymanians. Let's take a commercial break. When we return, we'll have 15 minutes of talk time left, so please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
Hi, I'm thinking of buying a car from the States. Which port do you ship out of?
Hi, we ship out of Miami, Houston, and Brooklyn. Just let us know your port of choice and we can provide you with a quotation and answer any questions you may have on insuring and protecting your vehicle during its journey.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
Get you ready. Set your date.
Saturday, April 27th, the annual Rotary Central Bill Rudy Science Fair at the Camana Bay Arts and Recreation Center, 9 a.m. through noon. Witness over 130 next-generation scientists representing over 12 primary schools, including Cayman Brac, deliver fresh ideas, solutions, and innovation covering life sciences, earth science, physics, chemistry, food and health, and more than meets the eye. 3 hours of science-spiration by the next generation. Major sponsors, Dart Minds Inspired and Green Turtle Express. Rotary Central Bill Rudy Science Fair 2019. Ideas, innovation, inspiration.
Hi, this is Bob Kingsley, and this weekend on the Countdown,
we're proudly sponsored by Merengue Town. Liven up your weekends and let loose with grooves of Merengue Town. It's time to feel the rhythm, time to feel the vibes. It's time for Merengue Town.
And, of course, the rest of the 40 hottest hit makers on radio this weekend on the Country Top 40.
Headlines. With the latest headlines. All the news when you want it. Tune in to Radio Cayman for hourly headlines of the day's top stories.
One of Cayman's bright and shining young stars.
Local, regional, international.
Turning to international news.
Updates on the hour between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. on weekdays. Radio Cayman News.
Headlines.
Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
For the record with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record with Orrett Connor continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We have two callers, and those are going to be the final two calls for the morning. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Morning, Ossie.
Morning. How are you?
Number one from the block.
Happy Easter to you.
Same to you, sir.
Thank you.
But I just want to say this. All this same-sex thing should not be going on. It's nothing but nastiness, and it's just what the Bible says will happen again. It's coming true. Same thing with Sodom and Gomorrah. Same with St. Port Royal. It come in Cayman. Watch yourself. You're sitting on a rock. All of you people down there, there should be shame on yourself who going up to talk about, want this and want that. Nastiness. Have a good day, sir. I'm gone.
Thank you very much, caller. You have a great day as well. Next caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Hey, good morning, O.C. How are you?
I'm fine. Good morning.
Good. Yeah, I just overheard there's a couple that's getting married here today.
Mm-hmm.
A same-sex couple. So maybe you might want to dig into that. I just heard it from other people who are on the ship. On the same ship, the Carnival Horizon.
Mm-hmm.
So,
is that a possibility that they're just probably going through informal ceremonies here, but the ceremonial aspect of it may have already taken place?
See that, but
and might be a renewal of vows or something like that, I suppose, because they would not be able to be issued with a marriage license here in the Cayman Islands as a result of the stay of execution granted by the Court of Appeals to the Chief Justice's judgment.
Well, that's what I thought too, but I'm only bringing it to light that it's taking place.
Okay.
Something is taking place concerning that.
Okay. Thank you very much. It'll be interesting to know exactly what that is. One of our listeners has written in and said, Mr. Connor, most drivers who display this prestigious bigotive, haven't heard that word in a long time, bigotive, old Caymanian word. So the person says most drivers who display this prestigious bigotive attitude are drivers of expensive, fast, and prestigious vehicles. They behave boastful to pass the little man in his cheap Toyota tugging along. So that is one other person's view, that the aggressiveness, the elitism of the drivers, the drivers of expensive and fast cars as well. One of our other listeners wrote in and said he says, yes, we must be mindful of the impact that an increasing level of development has on traffic. But one thing is patently obvious. If we had a properly organized public transportation system, which at the moment we certainly do not, it would undoubtedly have a huge impact on the number of vehicles on our roads. In the absence of a public transportation system, our newly arrived foreign workers are pretty much obliged to purchase a car to get to and from their place of work. Households in general are also often obliged to own more than one vehicle in order to get to their places of work. A public transportation system aided by bus lanes perhaps would provide for a predictable journey time between the 2 points on the island, thereby dispensing with the need for a personal car with all its attendant running costs of fuel, license, maintenance, and costly repairs. I do hope the government gives serious consideration to the introduction of a public transportation system. Most other countries have them. Why not us? That's a good point that the caller, the writer, has raised. Very quickly, I'm going to try to do one more because we want to have our closing comments as well. In the 22nd of March, 1967 edition of the Caymanian Weekly, precursor to the Caymanian Compass, news from Georgetown included the third annual regatta sponsored by the Cayman Islands Hotel Association was held Saturday, March 18 off the Beach Club Colony. A large crowd, both visitors and Caymanians, was present for the day-long series of races. The regatta began with a sunfish race, so it talks about that. So whatever happened to our regattas or sailing boats or catboat races? We know that the Catboat Club is trying to keep everything alive, but as usual, so many things have changed in the Cayman Islands. But again, for those of you who are out there picnicking, whether you're at Smith's Back-A-Dare, whether you're at the Kaibo Public Beach, whether you're in the East End area, again, I want to say to you, enjoy yourselves. Please be extremely careful. If you have young ones, toddlers, please keep your eyes on them. Those of you who are up in the middle ages, if you go out there swimming, make sure that you're physically fit. If you may just want to go in the water, we're up to waist high or whatever. if you're physically fit, you may want to snorkel, enjoy our underwater environment. But please, we urge you to be careful, whether you're on the beach, whether you're on the roads as well. One of our listeners has written in and said, "Good morning, OC. I am a concerned school bus driver appealing to the Royal Cayman Islands Police Commissioner. Please do something before we have a serious accident." And again, I believe that this writer is talking about the actions and attitude of drivers on the road when school buses have stopped to either put school children off or to pick them up as well. We see a lot of it going on in the Savannah area, where the Savannah Primary School is. When those lights are flashing, the speed that vehicles must travel at is 15 miles an hour between those lights, and people are failing to observe it. Again, I say we have to install the cameras. If they're not installed, we have to get a system in place where errant and reckless drivers, those who refuse to observe the law, are fined. And if government thinks that in a way is dirty money, because you're earning money from people committing offenses, there's nothing to feel guilty about. And if you feel guilty about the money and you don't want to take it and put it in the government coffers, in the public purse, then you may want to set that money aside, have it ring-fenced for proper driver education, to properly educate people about the roads. You may want to set up a fund for road advocacy, for cyclists, for pedestrians. There's a lot of things that you can do with that money. Believe you me, the people out there, they will pay the money. They will have to pay it if they are fined for committing an offense. We know you don't have the number of police to be on the roads, to be everywhere. Use technology. Find them. Let them pay for it. And take that money, and it can be put to very, very good use. So, that committee, that bipartisan select committee that has been established in the Legislative Assembly, please take a look at that. It is in your hands. It is in your hands. It is what the people are wanting. People are crying out for help. They need help on the roads. And the only way that help can come is from government through legislation, and legislation that has some teeth in it, that will hit people where they feel it the most, in their pockets, to ensure that they do better. Folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, and by extension For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles, as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, whether it be an office cubicle or if you're working in the outdoors. I also want to remind you that we are brothers and our sisters keepers. There is always someone out there who's less fortunate than we are, and I urge you to extend a helping hand to them. If you can't do that, then I suggest you donate to a worthy charity, because we always want to consider those who need, not necessarily those who want, or even those who crave. I say to you, before I say to you, have a great day. One of our listeners has written in and said, it is not being judgmental to agree with Jesus. It is Jesus who, in his last remarks to the church in Revelations, that reminds the world that those who practice the behavior listed in Revelations 22, 14, and 15. And this other person has written and said, good morning. I am a government employee. I always listen to your talk show every day and enjoy topics discussed. As I listened a few minutes ago, I heard you read a message from a 21-year-old heterosexual caller. And as that person mentioned, and I too am heterosexual, and I don't hate anyone who is not. However, I do hate the sin of which they are participating in. This sin is the same as any other sin. It's just that this is what they have chosen. Being addicted to sugar is just as much a sin in God's eyes as this. What I also detest is that the persons that are involved with this lifestyle should not be trying to change the laws of the land to suit their preferences. I don't think they're doing it to suit their preferences. They're doing it simply to accommodate their preferences while everyone else enjoys theirs also. If they want to live that way, they have other options, but it is incomprehensible that they would expect everyone else to share their ungodly views. Almighty God is such a great God. He knew that this would be in the hearts of mankind, but still made a provision for our salvation from these very sins. As we are soon to celebrate the season of Jesus' sacrifice to his life for us. Satan is our life's enemy, but God gave mankind the freedom to choose. So we need to choose our eternal destiny wisely. And I believe we have a response. Going over time, but I want to try to give everyone a seat at the table and an opportunity. If I can get this open to yes, okay. A sin is a sin is a sin. What the another person has responded as well. But I think we need to make it quite clear that the legal action that was taken for those individuals to be able to enjoy certain constitutional rights that they feel have been afforded to them in the Constitution. And that is being done not at the expense of the freedom of other persons to go about their life the way that they want to go about it as well. We all live on this planet. We all need to exist, to coexist on this planet together. So if we don't learn to do that, then what we're going to find is one side trying to eliminate the other side, and we certainly don't want that to happen. Folks, have a great Easter. Continue to support your radio station. Join Sterling, Drain, Ebanks at 12 noon. For the record, we'll be back on a week from today, next Wednesday as well. Enjoy. Have a great Easter. Please, please stay safe. Thank you.
Community radio with a different appeal. The voice of the people. Security through adversity. Stuck on you. Radio for all time.
You're listening to Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman.